All right, it's great to be back in the black hole of real estate, and I'm excited today because we are on episode 99. And what's interesting is I saw a statistic. It mentioned that only 6% of podcasts make it to 100 episodes. So here we are, we're on the precipice of that 100th episode. Will be coming at you next week, and definitely glad to be here today. So thanks for all the love along the way and all the support to get us on the brink of being in the, top 6% of all podcasts, at least as far as those that continue to do these things over time. Now, with the real estate industry at a crossroads of a number of things right now, it gets super interesting to talk about the way that the real estate community is going to be served by the real estate professionals. And looking at the major brokerages across the country, it's hard not to see that another big brokerage wrote a really big check to close out a lawsuit over this commission thing. And I call it a thing. I think that somewhere along the line that the legal side of thing got botched up a little bit, I think is what I would say, because on its face, this should have been thrown out of court, at least in my opinion, and yet here it is, people are writing checks for millions of dollars, and it's going to be around for a while. So what we're going to notice this year is that consumer protection is going to be at the forefront, which it always should be. And if someone is careless and doing the wrong thing, then they should be rooted out of this industry, quite honestly. And the ethics should be held to the highest standard. And we should be not doing any harm and doing the right thing for the consumer as far as being a real estate professional. Now, along the way, if the lawsuit was frivolous or not frivolous, that's for others to decide. But I see something here that was highly preventable in a number of ways. What I would say at this point is, among the noise that takes place with that sort of thing, what we miss is that the market is actually growing and changing. And it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. The interest rates, super big topic. They've been high for a while. And when I say high, relatively high, and if you're talking 7 or 8%, historically, that's just an average rate. We've enjoyed super low interest rates because the markets have been manipulated financially to push rates down to affect other things of growing, growth in the industry, domestic product, and home sales, and everything else that goes along with it. There's been manipulation to keep the economy going. And then when we hit the headwinds of inflation, well, that changed things. And these interest rates have steadily climbed time after time, meeting after meeting. They paused. They've signaled at the Fed that they're going to reduce a couple times this year. 3 is a popular number to hear. It's not a shock to me that between now and election time, it's going to come down. It'll be a feel-good story, and it'll be good for the consumer that it comes down in most cases. If you're saving money in the bank in a savings account, that rate's going to go down. Maybe not so good for you. But as far as overall the economy and home affordability for those that want to purchase, it's probably a good thing that rates come down. And they will. They will. So with it, the inventory level continues to climb, but slowly. And inventory is being eaten up. And we occasionally we still see multiple offers for well-priced properties. I mean, no news there. But with that, the sales community, the professionals, a lot of them are in a tough situation. Here's what I mean. A few years back, it was pretty easy to sell a house. Many instances where the list price was just a starting point and went upward. People chose not to do inspections. People chose to close early. People chose to let the owner stay in the house a month or two to find a new house, and did a lot of things they might not normally do. Most of that is off the table, and occasionally you'll see it as a strategy where it really makes sense for the buyer and the seller to do it, but not as a matter of best practice. And I think most agents got accustomed to that. I do enough teaching and training that it's not lost on me when we talk about a price reduction strategy, a price adjustment strategy, and you get the blank stares like, well, what's a price reduction? I've never had one of those. How do you do that? And like, well, it's time tested and it's true and it works. And there are times where a property, is priced too high and doesn't get offers, and it comes down. And for the consumer that is able to get a home below the list price, And boy, if it was listed at 400 and I got it for 300, man, I got a great deal. I got 100 off. I'm like, well, if it was 75,000 overpriced, you got a deal, but maybe not as good as you think. And these are the things that agents right now are struggling with, especially if they've been in the business, 2, 3 years or less. They just haven't seen enough of this yet. So they're a little off base in their strategies only because they haven't seen it or been trained on it or taught it or maybe were shown it, but just refused to take that training because life was good, business was good. There wasn't necessarily a need to do that. And this is where that crossroads I talk about. It's not inventory, it's not interest rates. There's probably going to be 5 million sales this year. Someone's going to do them. But more and more, the top 10 or 15% are selling more and more homes. And real estate teams, it's not a dirty word anymore. If you think of any sports team, if there's football, all right, so you've got a quarterback, you've got linemen, wide receivers, running backs on the offense. Everybody has a role. Same on defense. Why wouldn't it make sense for a real estate system to be in place, such as that as a team? The same thing happens in your doctor's office. There's somebody in reception, someone that does your initial vitals. Maybe there's a PA and then eventually the doctor at the end. I mean, it's well in place. The same thing with your attorney and your CPA. So why wouldn't it be different in a sales profession transacting millions of dollars? So more and more it's coming, and for the little guy, so to speak, the single agent, it gets harder. Technology changes super fast. The cost of business, absolutely going up, and there is such a thing as commission compression because I think that as competition increases, price comes down. It's a natural effect. It's not just real estate, and it's not tied to a fixed number. It's negotiable. It's always been negotiable. It'll always continue to be negotiable. But as things continue to ramp up, some might say it gets a little bit harder. I might think it's a little bit easier because we've always known what it was, and maybe we've been in avoidance and not done everything. But if you have, it's not a difficult market for a real estate professional that's shown up, become fundamentally sound, that's really been a student of the game and studied the market and pricing. That's a great advocate for a consumer to actually hire that agent because you're hiring a professional, the best in the business of what they do, especially in your local neighborhood if that's what you're looking at. Or if they're good on the investment side or 1031 exchange, there's still a value to an agent. They really know their stuff. I mean, that's why we hire professionals. That's why we hire attorneys. That's why we hire doctors. That's why we hire CPAs. They're the best of the best, and we want to work with that. So I believe that there's always going to be a market for every consumer and every agent to either choose to work together or choose not to work together. And if you want to talk about the rate, well, I mean, I think every car, everything you see has a different price on it. So I think it's just normal course of business. And you got a choice. This is America. You get to choose your level of service or no service. That dynamic has never been under a larger microscope than right now. The instantaneous news cycle and the level of social media information at a fingertip, and now AI kicking in. A professional that's worried about that is missing the boat. This is causing everything to get easier and better, to have an above average experience in the home buying and selling process, because this is causing everybody to level up. And that's the message today. So if you're looking at a change in the market, my suspicion is it's going to be easier to get a higher level of service for someone competing for your business. And I think that's a wonderful thing for the industry, quite honestly. It's not to leave anybody behind, because everybody has the same opportunity to get really good, because that's what's going to make them attractive, those people that are either purchasing homes or selling homes or investing. And the relationship never goes away. We still have to communicate. It has to feel really good, like two people just talking, and it's a really good friend. And a far less amount of instruction and pointing and telling you what to do, but more guiding you through the process and giving you options and choices for you to make the right decision as a consumer. And as a sales professional, if you're not abiding by that right now, well, man, there's a chance for some training on that and an opportunity for you to level up and get better and ask yourself the honest question: am I doing the best possible thing for my customer unfailingly every day. And I think the truth serum is just looking in the mirror. Would you hire yourself? Would you come back to yourself? Would you continue to use yourself over and over again? And if I hired you last year, would you be the same agent or would you be someone who's exponentially better? Because we can all grow. We have that chance to learn to grow and there's opportunity. And on the consumer side, getting involved with the right team or agent could absolutely be a benefit if that's something that's of value to you. I want to spend some time on this today because as I look at the industry at large, there's some furrowed eyebrows kind of stand like, man, here we go again, another black eye on the real estate community. Well, I'm here to tell you that there is bedrock in place, and the top agents, the ones that are fundamentally sound, that are focused every day on growing and learning and helping the consumer, there's a lot of them out there. And I believe through reviews and online presence and studying and information that if you want the service of an agent, you'll be able to find it easily. And that's the message. There's a good group of people in this industry helping others, and that's going to continue. So I hope you got a little something out of this. Yeah, I'm a little amped up about this, but it's true. I feel very passionate that there's a better level of service right around the corner for everyone in the real estate industry. All right, hope you enjoyed this. It's episode 99, going to be going in the books right now, and I can't wait to get to the number 100 next week. This is Ron Wysakarski for the Black Hole of Real Estate.